Hi guys, what's up and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Long time no talk. I'm really sorry. Here I am. Life is crazy. I'm sure you guys know. Anyways, today I want to talk about something a little bit more serious, which is health, reptile health, pet health in general, but for me it's reptile health. Because I've been having an issue recently with one of my snakes. The snake is Sage. I'm sure you guys have seen him in one of my previous videos. He's been in a few. He was one of my first ball pythons I've ever had, or anyways, one of my first snakes I've ever had. And he's a very special little boy. He's always been the best snake ever. He's the guy I give to friends when they want to hold a snake of mine because he's just so nice. He's super calm and he's just an awesome snake overall, seriously. And since about 2 weeks, he's been having an issue with his respiratory system. I first noticed him making a weird kind of growly sound. I'm gonna insert some video clips later on so you guys are gonna hear it. When he was just chilling in his enclosure, and then I put him into a new enclosure with just paper towels because I thought maybe it's too wet and it's just too moist or something. So I moved him into that, but it didn't get any better. He stopped eating a little while ago, actually. I think he last ate about a month ago, and before that he was also on a food break, which is not a big deal in ball pythons. They do that sometimes. But then he started eating again a little bit, and then now since about a month he hadn't eaten. Here he is. You can already see that his skin has these folds on his neck. That is the shedding issues because his shed is stuck on him. I'm gonna see if he's gonna make the sound so you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna put him in a little bag so we can take him to the vet. He's a little skinny. I'm gonna put you guys here and we'll see if you can hear the sound he makes. So I took him to the vet on Monday last week, and it was a normal vet basically that also cares for reptiles. So I called in advance to just ask, hey, do you guys do that? Like, my snake is having respiratory issues, he's making sounds when he's just laying around, not necessarily breathing, because it was only like once every 2 hours or something that he made that sound, but still he kept making that sound and that was not normal. And they were like, yeah, totally, of course, you can come in. So I went in and they basically just took a little swab and swabbed his mouth and like his air hole, where they have the air hole in the front of the mouth, also took a swab there. And they basically told me, we will give you some antibiotics for now. Wait for the lab samples to come back and then we'll let you know what we'll do. So I'm also going to include prices here just so you guys know how expensive a reptile actually can be when they get sick. This first visit at the vet was about 90 euros. I went home and they gave me these little pills that I had to shove down his throat, basically. It sounds very rough. I'm going to insert a clip about that right now. Okay, so I've got everything prepared for Sage's treatment. I have a little wet towel here because he does have shedding issues. It's moist in this area. And then I've got a little antibiotic. It's super tiny, like very, very small. I got a little stick. I didn't need it last time, but if I need it, I have it. Then a syringe with water and a clean pair of very narrow tweezers to put the little antibiotic in his throat. So yeah, he's still making these sounds. It sounds really, really bad. Alright, we got his neck. He's gonna try to wind free. I'm gonna, but put my leg here to put him on. So he has something beneath him that gives him some stability. I'm trying to put it so you guys can't see it.
I'll try to have him open his mouth by touching it, and he will probably do that. There we go. I'm putting it all the way back into his throat. Now I'm taking the syringe with water, opening his mouth again, and putting some in so that the pill can go down. Now we've got to loosen him from my arm so I can let him go. Some of the water is coming out, but that's okay.
And just as a little info for you guys, I really don't expect anyone to do this, but I have made a GoFundMe to help me and us through this, to help Sage get back to health and help me actually be able to provide that to him. The link will be down below in case any one of you does decide to donate really anything. You will definitely get a shout out in the next update, and whatever you want. I will give you a personal message, a personal video message if you want. Just if you really can and want to help, it would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, so I did that every day for 5 days until Friday. Well, 4 days, because I gave it to him as an injection on Monday, and then I had to do that through Friday. And I called them. Actually, I'm getting lost here. On Thursday, I called them again because the lab samples were supposed to be back on Thursday, and they were. So they told me to come back in because I said nothing. It still didn't get any better. He's still making the sounds, actually even worse now. It really was with every breath he took. I heard this gargle inside of him, and he still wasn't eating. I offered him frozen mice, live mice, ASF, everything. And he still hadn't eaten, so they said, well, if it still hasn't gotten any better, you will have to come back. So I went back on Thursday, and his mouth was full of slime, completely full of slime, like really gross. And I basically on that Thursday just opened his mouth with a spatula. Is it a spatula? Yeah, I think so. Opened his mouth, looked inside, and she was like, oh yeah, there's still a lot of slime in there. It's really still very yucky. And I was like, I know. And she's like, yeah, I think you'll have to go to a reptile expert with that. And I was like, wow, seriously? You guys say you can do this and then you can't? I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. And then she recommended me a reptile vet in the area, and I called them immediately on Thursday, but they didn't have an appointment in that week still, and I was getting really worried about him. They gave me appointments straight on Monday, and they also told me to quit the antibiotic because it is clearly not helping. She said if it doesn't help after 3 days, it doesn't help at all. So I went into that vet on Monday. Oh, actually for that visit on Thursday where they didn't do anything, I actually paid $25 again for nothing basically, but you know, what can you do? So Monday I go into that new vet. Straight away looks a lot more experienced with snakes, because of the other vet, they were like very weird with holding him, like scared that he's gonna bite them, and he was just like grabbing it professionally, you know. And he also took cotton swabs and swabbed everywhere, his mouth, everywhere. He did like 4 swabs or something. And what else did they do? They weighed him, and he was only 700 grams, whereas a snake of his size and age should be about 1,200 grams or above that, but not much below. And so he's very underweight. He hadn't eaten at that point. He had actually he took a mouse, he killed it, but then he didn't eat it on that Monday. And yeah, basically he also told me he was gonna do lab samples, and he's gonna do an antibiotic test in the lab. So basically he tests all kinds of antibiotics if they're gonna work on him to treat him. And that visit was again 90 euros. So at home I had to give him some sort of, I actually have the name, I don't know what it is. It's like some medicine that was supposed to help him as well. I think it was like a slime that gets rid of the slime, I think. I had to give him that with a syringe in the mouth. It was like a liquid. And I did that, and then on Tuesday morning, he actually ate a small mouse, which, bless, I was so happy he ate a small mouse. So it was helping a little, but it wasn't treating the bacterial infection he had. Actually, I don't think I've mentioned that yet. It's a bacterial infection. So I had to wait for them to do the lab testing as well. And for that lab testing, I got the results today. Basically, he couldn't do anything. He said he found some kind of mold or something that he can treat, but none of the antibiotics he tested would help the bacterial infection he has. So basically, he said he had to send all of the samples he has to a different lab, and that would again be about 87 euros to test for the proper antibiotic that could help him. And that's what they did now, and I will get the results for that sometime next week. I'm just happy that he ate, because now I think he can actually make it until then. I will keep offering him mice every 5 to 7 days now, because he needs it. He really does. And yeah, then once they get that lab test back, we will look into the treatment, into the meds he's gonna need, and that's, I asked him and he couldn't tell me, but it's gonna be again somewhere around the 100 euros. So we're gonna probably, by the end of everything, gonna be about 500 euros for the whole treatment, if they even find something now. Else there's gonna be more testing and everything. So yeah, it's a very expensive matter, but as long as he's gonna get better, I'm all for it, honestly. Take all my money. I just want him to get better. I'm really sad. I felt so guilty. I was so desperate on some of these days, so close to just freaking out, because I felt so bad for this snake, and I just want him to get better so freaking bad. No one understands. Everyone I talk to about this, they're like, well, I don't have a connection. I couldn't imagine having such a connection with a snake that I would care that much. But for me, they are my little animal family too, you know what I mean? It's not just a snake, you know what I mean? And in case any of you guys are wondering how a snake even gets a lung infection, it just happens. A lot of things can cause it. It's basically just the bacteria being able to build up more than it's supposed to, due to any circumstance really. And ball pythons in general are very prone to getting a lung infection. So it can happen if it's too cool, it can happen from dirty water, but it can also just happen from pretty much nothing. It just happens a lot with ball pythons, is what my vet told me, and it doesn't even have to be your fault in a lot of times. So guys, as soon as I know more what's gonna happen next, and if they actually were able to find something that can help him, I will definitely give an update, most likely sometime next week, just because I won't get any information before then anyways too. I just really hope he can hold out until then. So far he seems to be doing okay. He seems like he's gonna be okay until then. He definitely is doing a lot better since he ate. It makes me feel hopeful that he can push through and that we can fight this and get him back to health. So I hope maybe I could help someone who's having similar issues with their snake. It is very important you go see a vet, because I don't actually know if it's possible for your snake to fight it off on its own, but it's very serious and it can suffocate them if too much mucus builds up in their lungs. It can suffocate them because they won't be able to breathe. There's so many ways this can actually kill your snake, and it's very important that as soon as you notice it, you go see a vet. And as you can tell, it can take a long time until a proper treatment is found too, as it is such a widespread thing. And so far his bacteria were immune to all antibiotics. I don't know if it's called immune, but no antibiotic could fight his bacteria. So I will see you guys in hopefully next week's update. I hope I will know more until then. And yeah,